Hey, what's up? It's Dylan Villian from The Wild, and you're watching Live in Limbo. Oh, wow. That's a good question. Well, most recently, we were playing London Music Hall, and I didn't know that it was an all-ages venue. Actually, this happened at the Roxy in LA as well. There was someone who had brought their kid, and it was his birthday, and he had a shirt that said, "Hey, it's my birthday." So that was really cool because the dad threw him on his shoulders right in the front row. I kind of got to lead past security onto the gate and give him a guitar pick and a pound. And yeah, so that was really cool because it was unexpected to see at first when I thought, what is there a child doing in the Roxy in Los Angeles? But that was cool. So that's the most recent one I could think of. What about you? Off our last EP, its songs always resonated with me in a lot of different ways personally, but it also showcases, a different side of the band and our love for the blues. And, it's just a cool moment in the set where we kind of bring it down and get to tell everybody a bit of a story. Yeah, again, it's just the moment of the show where we kind of take it down a level and show a different side of, the band and what we're all about. So, and being that it's a very stripped down song for the most part, I'd say, over 3/4 of it, it's just guitar and vocal. Really, you're left up there to your own device to really, people got to listen to what you're saying. So it is a cool moment that we share with the audience every night, and I love that. I don't know, I got a lot of love for the Delta blues. I always talk about that in the press, and so I'll give it up to all the greats before me: Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters, Little Walter, Elmore James, all those guys. That's really where the thing of the Wild that separates the Wild from a lot of rock bands is we really go deep into that whole thing. But it's the same thing with that as it is that we listen to punk rock. And I feel like a lot of rock and roll bands have, steeped in the blues, touched on the blues, but there's not a lot who really do blues and punk influences together to make, their own sort of rock and roll thing. Maybe early AC/DC has that vibe, maybe some Motorhead, but that's kind of one thing that we hold true to ourselves that we're very proud of, that it's, something that separates us from everybody else. I always dig it when I'm at a show, which hasn't happened in years, but just off the top, I love when I go see a band and I don't know the opener. For example, I saw a few different shows on that last Zakk Wylde tour, on the Book of Shadows run, being a label mate, a dude that hanging out with and stuff. It was cool. I actually was here in Toronto. I had heard of Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown through press. I can't remember what magazine I'd seen them in. And I thought, oh, wow, these guys got a good look and whatever. But then I didn't even know they were on the tour. And we came to the show, and then it was boom, they were on stage, and I thought, wow, this is sweet, because I have seen them, but I had never heard them. And for my first moment to experience them live versus hearing them on the record, that was it, because they're killer. And then also Jared James Nichols is on that tour. Got the same agent in the States with him. And those guys, between both those two, those were the two new finds for me. And to see them both live rather than, Spotify or whatever, YouTube, it was special, Those guys are real players, real dudes, good guys, and I really dig them. Well, on this current record that's going to come out, I actually have a co-production credit on it. And that's my first, it's not my first record I've produced, but it's my first, legitimate co-production credit, along with, someone who I've looked up to my entire life. Mike Fraser is also a close friend of mine. So, the side of working with Mike in the studio, be it my songs or another band's songs, I really get into that. I really get involved in that process, because a lot of magic can happen on the fly. As you've probably heard lots of guys say too. So, but to be perfectly honest with you, I love all of it, and I was built for everything in this industry, in this business, and I welcome all of it, because I take all of it as one. So there was a scene we shot on day 3 of the shoot, where we were on top of a RV playing, ripping down the highway on the way to the U.S. border. The drums were secured to the roof, but nothing else was. And we were, you know, going pretty fast, and we were shooting it with drone, and then there was a truck with red cam kind of passing us and in front of us and going back. And that was nuts. Yeah, you know, you think that maybe to some people the idea of playing on the roof of a moving vehicle would be not as crazy as it sounds, or maybe it does sound crazy off top, but it was nuts. And all these other, we kind of had blocked the road off on one side, and on the other side, on the way to the border was like, you know, maybe a kilometer away, so they were probably thinking, what the hell is going on? But all the people that were coming in and out of the States, driving by this huge black RV and a band playing on the roof of it, were just like, what is happening here? So that was pretty awesome. And then two, shooting it at home and seeing everybody come out and support us at home, even though it was raining, that was great too. Just the show every night, you know, pretty stock answer, but I mean it, I truly do. That's the part of this that makes it all worthwhile. The highs and lows, you got to take it all together, but the show is what it's all about. Well, it's interesting enough that we're here because I spent a lot of time in Toronto growing up. I lived here for about 4 years, and I, you know, as a teenager, went to a lot of shows here at the Opera House. So tonight's pretty special for me that way. You know, we treat them all the same though, truthfully, whether we're, you know, doing our own headline shows at like 1,500 people or there's, you know, 5,000. We play the same, we give it all every night, and yeah, we're just happy to be here and happy to be playing music for a living. I don't know, just every day I keep just being stoked to be here. You know, I went through a lot of stuff making this record that you know, I wasn't sure how much longer I would be able to be singing and everything. There was a brief moment, you know, where it was kind of like, what's really going to happen for my future as a singer and all of that. So 4 years later with the Wild, and it's my job. It's what I do for a living. So every day that you know, making it work that way, that's my favorite thing. I love that.